Chapter 1191, Luring the Soul. Run! Quick! Run! The Jin Kingdom experts began fleeing frantically. This place was the former capital of the Jin Kingdom. Coupled with the fact that the main forces of the kingdom were about to arrive, the kingdom had gathered the Celestial Masters who was already on the battlefield here. However, it seemed as if they had set up themselves to seized by the Green Fire Palace in one fell swoop. These Celestial Masters did not even have the right to put up a fight. They could merely flee frantically. Unfortunately, it was difficult for them to do so as they were in the ruddy-faced Ju-Yu's domain. Thus, a large amount of Celestial Masters was mercilessly slaughtered. Damn it! Red Snow King's face was icy cold as he emitted a roar. Out of the blue, a pitch-black tail that was like a saber came sweeping at him at lightning speed. He immediately scrambled to defend himself, but Samsara Temple Master suddenly bellowed. The sound carried a terrifying sound wave that attacked him. Crash! The low sound of collision resounded and Red Snow King's body flew out. While being flung away, he spewed blood from his mouth. Red Snow King, I've told you that I won't let even one of you Jin Kingdom experts here today escape. Samsara Temple Master's cold voice reverberated in the air. Instead of getting angry, Red Snow King laughed and replied, "You won't let even one of us escape? Don't you think you're too confident in yourselves? Did you really think you'll be able to ruin the foundation of our Jin Kingdom on this battlefield with a couple of palace masters, Jian Wushuang, and several puppet fighters? What a joke! Since you're all here today, don't even dream of escaping." Red Snow King was seeing red, his gaze carrying a boundless killing intent. The several palace masters of Green Fire Palace and Jian Wushuang could not help frowning after hearing his words. What kind of trouble could Red Snow King cause now that the situation had reached its current state and all the experts in the old Jin Kingdom capital had escaped? Humph! Following a harumph, Red Snow King waved his hand and a sturdy figure immediately appeared in the void beside him. This sturdy figure was evidently a puppet fighter that bore no vitality or aura whatsoever. Moreover, it ought to be one at the Universe Master level. However, Red Snow King would not be able to change the current situation even if he could produce puppet fighters at the 3rd or 4th level, let alone a single one at the Universe Master level. Could it be? The pupils of Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, and the others rapidly shrank. They came to realize there was something Red Snow King could do. Per their expectations, they saw him taking out a jade bottle and poured the drop of blood essence on the puppet fighter. Then, a simple and unsophisticated aura slowly began to rise out of the puppet fighter. Oh no! Damn it! The expressions of Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, and the others changed. They already knew what Red Snow King was attempting to do. Soul luring. This is a soul luring tactic. Jiu King's solemn voice reverberated in Jian Wushuang's heart. Soul luring? What's soul luring? Jian Wushuang immediately asked. Soul luring is a rather strange tactic from the eternal chaotic world. The user will imbue a shred of his consciousness into a drop of essence blood and then use his secret skill on a puppet fighter or some other vessel. One will have to pay a great price for using this tactic. In fact, the stronger one is, the steeper the price, Jiu King replied. What you're seeing right now is an example of soul luring. The drop of essence blood contained a shred of consciousness. I believe it to be the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness. Monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Even though it's just a shred of consciousness, it contains the memories of the monarch of Jin Kingdom. In other words, the shred of consciousness could unleash the secret skills he knows, including the Tao that he founded and the unique moves that he created through the puppet fighter, Jiu King continued. However, this puppet fighter is only in the Universe Master level. That means whatever skills the monarch of Jin Kingdom uses will only contain the force of half a Universe Master level. I see, Jian Wushuang said, finally understanding the situation. Sure enough, the pupils of the puppet fighter that was completely still earlier began shifting around after the soul luring ceremony. It was now alive. Your Highness. Red Snow King immediately kowtowed to the puppet fighter. The puppet fighter ignored him and turned to look at the palace masters of the Green Fire Palace. Knowing that my army is about to arrive, you all decided to take the first initiative and destroy all our foundation here. Your palace masters are pretty smart, aren't they? Courageous too, said a cold, hoarse voice. The faces of Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, Emperor of Tang, Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword, and Red Lotus darkened. They had once seen this scene 5 million years ago. In the war between the Jin Kingdom and the Green Fire Palace, the former had used this exact same soul-luring skill to place a shred of their monarch's consciousness in a puppet fighter. The Green Fire Palace had to pay a steep price and exerted great effort before they could defeat the puppet fighter imbued with the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness. Would history repeat itself today? This is troublesome. Samsara Temple Master muttered. Even though the basic strength of monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness was only at the ordinary Universe Master, his realm was above the Universe Master level. The last time we fought, you people had to use all sorts of tricks and sacrifice 2 of your Universe Masters to defeat a shred of my consciousness. I wonder what price you'll have to pay this time? The monarch of Jin Kingdom said, smiling faintly at them. Samsara, what should we do? The palace masters of the Green Fire Palace were already gathered in the same spot. What to do? What can we do? The voice of Samsara Temple Master was cold. Since things have come to this point, our only choice is to kill him. Kill me? He. How audacious. The monarch of Jin Kingdom sneered. His eyes turned steely and in the next second, he was already charging at them. Kaboom! The aura of Samsara Temple Master surged violently as black flames flared from within his body. Carrying an endlessly tyrannical aura, he appeared in front of the monarch of Jin Kingdom. Underneath his black armor, his face had thoroughly contorted into a warped expression. His strength was at its peak. The palm that was covered in black armor was like a legendary rain-summoning dragon as he suddenly threw it outward. Black ripples emerged out of nowhere as explosions rang out. The 9 ripples revolved around Samsara Temple Master's palm. His palm suddenly exploded with the power of millions of thunderbolts. 9th-fold Heaven Samsara Seal. Kaboom! It was an earth-shattering skill. This was the most powerful unique move of Samsara Temple Master in his many years of fame. It was also a skill that he executed with all of his strength. Chapter 1192. Battle. How audacious of the light of a firefly to contend with the splendor of the sun and moon. The monarch of Jin Kingdom sneered when he saw Samsara Temple Master making his move, a lance already in hand. The dark as ink lance emanated a terrifying aura. It was a lance that was condensed purely out of monarch of Jin Kingdom's power. He followed suit in taking a step forward. The moment he stepped out, the pitch-black lance had already transformed into a pitch-black lightning bolt. The lightning bolt immediately pierced the void with an explosion. Boom! The lightning bolt caused an immense black hole to form in the void. The black hole began expanding at an astonishing speed and reached hundreds of thousands of miles in no time. Inside this black hole, the monarch of Jin Kingdom's lance had already collided with Samsara Temple Master's most powerful move. Clang! The collision caused an earth-shattering sound. Out of the 9 Tao pitch-black ripples from Samsara Temple Master's strike, 3 immediately shattered. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Tao followed suit after. The eyes of Samsara Temple Master turned bloodshot and underneath the black armor, his face was equally as crazed. He had given his all in executing the move. However, sounds of collision reverberated out of the blue. 2 dull sounds of collision reverberated. The 7th and 8th Tao pitch-black ripples also dissipated. Insects are still insects at the end of the day. The monarch of Jin Kingdom smiled apathetically. Faint light burst out of the pitch-black lance in his hand, causing its power to heighten drastically. The lance then split open the final black ripple and arrive above Samsara Temple Master without losing any power or momentum. The terrifying impact came drifting towards Samsara Temple Master. Even with his black armor greatly weakening the impact, he nevertheless still made a quiet groan. The chi and blood in him were boiling, causing blood to spew from his mouth. Swoosh! Like an artillery shell, his body subsequently exploded. Samsara, Void Temple Master, Emperor of Tang, Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword, and Red Lotus all turned pale with fright. Samsara Temple Master was unmistakably the strongest out of the 5 of them. They were stunned that he was still forced to retreat after using his strongest move on the monarch of Jin Kingdom. How is that a shred of consciousness is this strong? Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword cried in shock. It had not been long since he abruptly ascended the throne. He was not involved in the war 5 million years ago and thus did not see how the monarch of Jin Kingdom had wiped the battlefield clean back then. Jian Wushuang, who stood some distance away, narrowed his eyes. Even though the puppet fighter that carries his consciousness is only at the universe master level and the power he unleashed would be at a similar level, his realm is too high. The might of the Tao that he created, as well as the numerous secret skills that he possesses, surpassed what we have. In summary, his battle prowess is certainly at the peak of a universe master, the Supreme Universe Master level. Supreme Universe Master? I'm also one. I believe I'm the only one out of the entire Green Fire Palace to stand a fighting chance against him. Since that's the case. Jian Wushuang held the Blood Mountain sword in his hands, battle intent slowly but fiercely surging within him. Fight! Following the yelling. Right at the next moment, Jian Wushuang had already floated outward. You Palace Masters play a critical role in the Green Fire Palace. If I can kill you all now, it'll be so much easier for my army to sweep you all clean. The monarch of Jin Kingdom gave a light chuckle as he stared at Samsara Temple Master and the rest. In his eyes was a hint of killing intent. Just then, buzz! A faint sword echo resounded in the air and an incomparably egotistical aura immediately locked onto the monarch of Jin Kingdom. HM? The monarch of Jin Kingdom turned around with a raised eyebrow. Samsara Temple Master and the rest also heard the sword echo and immediately turned to look at the source of the sound. Jian Wushuang? They were all stupefied. Their expressions changed drastically when they saw Jian Wushuang flying straight toward the monarch of Jin Kingdom. Don't be hasty, Jian Wushuang. Hurry up and retreat. Jian Wushuang, you're not his match. Hurry up and run. Jian Wushuang, don't be stupid. The 5 palace masters cried out at the same time, asking Jian Wushuang to retreat. What a joke. The monarch of Jin Kingdom managed to force Samsara Temple Master to back off even after the latter had used all of his strength. Clearly, the former possessed strength superior to theirs. Their only choice was to work together and pay the price of sacrificing 1 or 2 of them to eliminate the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness. Going one-on-one was no different from digging one's own grave. Jian Wushuang's eyes remained steely even after hearing the cries of the 5 palace masters, showing no desire whatsoever to retreat. The Jin Kingdom experts began to sneer. How interesting. Hotspurs like him are a rare sight in the eternal chaotic world. It's only in completely isolated places like this that we can see something like this. Since you're so desperate to be the first to die, I'll grant your wish. The monarch of Jin Kingdom made his move after speaking. Once again, he took a step forward and thrust the pitch-black lance in his hand in the next moment. Boom! The terrifying might caused the world to tremble. The surviving universe masters and celestial masters of the Jin Kingdom quaked in fear from the bottom of their hearts when they sensed this formidable might. There was a rupture in the void as the pitch-black lance directly penetrated Jian Wushuang. However, Jian Wushuang's figure had also abruptly halted. His eyes seemed to be burning with fire as they stared fixedly at the pitch-black lance. He had already lifted the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. The moment he lifted his sword, a buzzing sound resounded and the entire world plunged into darkness. Everything fell into darkness and nothingness. There was no longer any light to be seen. The world also fell into complete stillness. HM? Flabbergasted, the monarch of Jin Kingdom raised his head. He happened to see Jian Wushuang swinging his sword at him. This swing was accompanied by a dazzling ray of light. The dazzling light radiated the world as if it was the first light of dawn rising from the end of the horizon. After 1,800 years of earnest cultivation, this was the strongest move that Jian Wushuang could produce. It was a sword movement in the supreme secret level. Dawn had arrived. Supreme secret? The eyes of monarch of Jin Kingdom glinted and the might of the lance immediately exploded. Kaboom! The change of the world caused all living things to tremble. The experts in the area couldn't help shrieking in their hearts. That's Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, Emperor of Tang, Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword, Red Lotus, and the 5 palace masters widened their eyes. They all stared fixedly at the scene before them. To be more precise, They were staring at the hint of dawn unfolding in the boundless darkness. Under everyone's focused gaze, two terrifyingly powerful forces collided with one another. Chapter 1193. I take you in as my personal disciple. Boom! The terrifying explosion reverberated in the world as the two powers collided, causing the void to rupture frantically. Strong gales from the clash of the two energies exploded out. Retreat! Even while grappling with shock, the master of Samsara Temple and the others immediately retreated. With a steely face, Jian Wushuang stood in the center of this powerful collision. His sword light remained as dazzling as ever. He managed to create a supreme secret? The eyes of the monarch of Jin Kingdom glinted as he stared fixedly on Jian Wushuang. He then sneered. Whoosh! Whoosh! Both of them were pushed backward by the force at the same time. Thud! 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 Jian Wushuang treaded on the void, each step imbued with million tons of force as he trampled on the void. He took a total of 10 steps backward before stopping. When he once again lifted his head, his battle intent was overpowering. Meanwhile, the monarch of Jin Kingdom had also taken 10 steps backward before stopping. To think that they would be evenly matched in a head-on collision. How is this possible? Red Snow King cried with an unprecedented sense of shock. His eyes were now entirely open as he stared fixedly at Jian Wushuang. The master of Samsara Temple and the rest were also stupefied. Not even the master of Samsara Temple was able to contend with the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness after exerting his full strength. Yet Jian Wushuang was evenly matched with the latter. Was this a joke? 1,800 years. It has only been 1,800 years. Emperor of Tang clasped his hands tightly, a deep sense of surprise coloring his eyes. The master of Samsara Temple and the rest were overjoyed at the unexpected turn of events. They were already deeply shocked when they found out that Jian Wushuang was no weaker than Red Snow King. But they never once thought that the power of Jian Wushuang would be so much more frightening than what they imagination. 1,800 years ago, Jian Wushuang was merely equipped with the battle strength of a universe master. He managed to improve his strength this much in a short span of 1,800 years? What a monster! The palace masters could not suppress their tempestuous hearts. Their lifespans were all incomparably long. Never mind 1,800 years, it would be hard for them to see significant progress in their strength even after 18,000 years. Jian Wushuang's progress was certainly extraordinary. That sword move earlier. Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword's eyes were wide open. The scene of Jian Wushuang unleashing his swordsmanship replayed in his mind over and over. Previously, when another palace master said that he could no longer maintain his position as the top sword cultivator in the Green Fire world, he was unable to accept it. Even though Jian Wushuang had previously shown strength superior to his, the former was an inverse cultivator with many treasures and plethora of tricks. In terms of kendo and swordsmanship, he believed that he was not any weaker than Jian Wushuang. In fact, he might even be stronger. However, now that he had seen that sword move, he no longer harbored any thoughts of competing with Jian Wushuang. That sword strike surpassed everything he knew about swordsmanship. He's the true top sword cultivator of the Green Fire world. Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword exclaimed in a solemn voice. Over on the battlefield, the eyes of the monarch of Jin Kingdom glinted as he looked at Jian Wushuang. If I'm not mistaken, you ought to be a mere Dao master? He asked. So what if it's true? Jian Wushuang retorted in an icy-cold voice. How extraordinary that a mere Dao master is able to create a swordsmanship of the supreme secret level and possess the battle strength of a universe master. Though I've seen countless talents in the eternal chaotic world, you're much more noteworthy than any of them, the monarch of Jin Kingdom said with a smile. I'll give you a chance in view of your talent. Chance? What chance? Jian Wushuang asked emotionlessly. I'll give you a chance to swear your allegiance to me, the monarch of Jin Kingdom said, smiling. My original body will soon be here. When that time comes, I'll sweep this battlefield clean. Of course, that means I'll be destroying all of you Green Fire Palace people as well. You too will die. However, if you swear your allegiance to me, I'll spare your life and even take you in as my personal disciple. The many opportunities and treasures left on this battlefield will belong to us both. What say you? You'll take me in as a personal disciple? Jian Wushuang could not help sneering. Jian Wushuang, are you aware of what kind of illustrious existence His Highness is? He founded the great Jin Kingdom but has never taken any personal disciples. His willingness to do so is the result of the accumulation of your luck over your entire lifetime. Won't you hurry up and agree? Red Snow King cried. Heh! I'm afraid I'm unable to bear the love that the monarch of Jin Kingdom has shown me, Jian Wushuang said coldly. What? The eyes of the monarch of Jin Kingdom turned cold. Shaking his head, he said, That's a pity then. Since you're not willing to accept me as your master and join my camp, that makes you my enemy. I have no choice but to exterminate a talent like you. Exterminate me? Just based on the little shred of consciousness you have here? Jian Wushuang mocked. How would I know if I don't try? The monarch of Jin Kingdom laughed as he stared fixedly at Jian Wushuang with a pair of ice-cold eyes. Strange scarlet rays of light flitted inside his pupils. Buzz! An incorporeal force attacked Jian Wushuang's sea of consciousness. A jolt went through his body, but he swiftly recovered. Consciousness attack? Jian Wushuang sneered. You blocked it? The monarch of Jin Kingdom was rather flabbergasted. I've truly underestimated you. Looks like I won't be able to kill you with just this shred of consciousness, but we can just wait for my original body to arrive to deal with you. Let me first put things in order here. With me around, you won't have this opportunity, Jian Wushuang said. Oh! The monarch of Jin Kingdom narrowed his eyes. Swoosh! Swoosh! Their figures vanished at the same time. When they reappeared, they were already locked in a fierce battle. The void around them was instantly crushed as a result of their fight. Wearing an ice-cold expression, Jian Wushuang held his trembling Blood Mountain sword in one hand and immediately thrust it at the monarch of Jin Kingdom. Yin's spiritual dragon. His Blood Mountain sword immediately turned into an immense black dragon that violently tore at the monarch of Jin Kingdom. The monarch of Jin Kingdom appeared tranquil as he threw the pitch-black lance in his hand in a seemingly casual manner. This time, the lance went straight through the immense black dragon and even destroyed the force concealed with the dragon. Spell of disturbance. Following Jian Wushuang's roar, gale began to rise around them and shadows of the sword burst forth from his hand. In an instant, he created a storm of sword shadows that enveloped the monarch of Jin Kingdom. The terrifying sword shadows abruptly exploded. Chapter 1194. Reincarnation of the Extinguished Consciousness. Interesting. The monarch of Jin Kingdom appeared overjoyed even as he was trapped in the storm of sword shadows. He thrust his pitch-black lance in a seemingly casual manner but happened to block Jian Wushuang's sword at just the right timing. My spell of disturbance pushes the sword principles of the world to its pinnacle. Each sword strike affects time and space at a frighteningly high speed yet is able to block each one with such ease. Jian Wushuang frowned. Just show me all that you have, the monarch of Jin Kingdom said with a laugh. Jian Wushuang's face darkened. His figure began to sway and a doppelganger appeared next to him. Oh, a doppelganger? The monarch of Jin Kingdom lifted an eyebrow. Kill. Jian Wushuang's eyes were icy-cold as he and his doppelganger brandished their swords side by side. Then, at a lightning speed, they thrust their swords together. Jian Wushuang's doppelganger possessed the exact same sword principles and swordsmanship as him. It could also unleash the stroke of dawn. The only difference was that it was not dressed in the blood-killing plate armor and was thus slightly weaker than Jian Wushuang. However, with this move as a supreme secret level, it still possessed the battle strength of a peak universe master. Master of Samsara Temple. Let's fight together. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth to emit a whistle as he and his doppelganger struck at the same time. All right. The master of Samsara Temple, who had stabilized his injuries, immediately nodded. His body rapidly enlarged and turned into a large vicious beast that was covered in armor. He then charged toward the monarch of Jin Kingdom and arrived in front of the latter. The master of Void Temple, Emperor of Tang, Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword, and Red Lotus could only watch as the master of Samsara Temple joined Jian Wushuang. Red Lotus could, at most, impose slight suppression on the monarch of Jin Kingdom with his 9 Serenities domain. There was nothing concrete that they could do against such a powerful enemy like the monarch of Jin Kingdom. Considering their strength, any show of carelessness on the battlefield will just give the monarch an opportunity to kill them. The war between the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom was imminent, and any difference in realm and battle strength was vital in determining the outcome of the war. They would not hastily try and take down the monarch of Jin Kingdom unless it was absolutely necessary. With Jian Wushuang, his doppelganger, and the master of Samsara Temple working together, coupled with Red Lotus 9 Serenity's domain aiding their fight, it was enough to take down the manifestation of the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness. Kill. D. The three of them unleashed their greatest battle potential. In particular, Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship was sharp and precise. In terms of battle strength, he was not weaker than the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness in the slightest. Under successive attacks from all three of them, the monarch of Jin Kingdom immediately fell to a state of disadvantage. Not long after, Humph. The master of Samsara Temple harumphed coldly as he took advantage of the gap when the monarch of Jin Kingdom was resisting Jian Wushuang's sword. With his large body, he slammed into the monarch with the force of a mountain. The puppet fighter that housed the monarch's consciousness immediately became damaged, and part of his arm shattered from the force of the collision. The eyes of Jian Wushuang and the master of Samsara Temple brightened up when they saw this scene. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang smirked. This soul-luring trick draws only the monarch's consciousness, but its body is still that of a puppet fighter of the level of a universe master with ordinary defensive capabilities. It doesn't have any self-protection methods either, and any ordinary universe master would be able to cause such damage if their attack lands on the puppet fighter's body, let alone the master of Samsara Temple's brutal attack. Moreover, the monarch couldn't restore the damaged parts of the puppet fighter. The monarch of Jin Kingdom saw a sharp decline in his battle strength after the master of Samsara Temple slammed into him. He was subsequently put under even stronger suppression. The puppet fighter soon reached the fringe of complete destruction. The monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness remained in the puppet fighter, but he could also detect that his vessel had reached its limit. Even so, he showed no anger. His face remained as cold as ever. Jian Wushuang, I have remembered you. It won't be long before my true body arrives. I want to see if how your Green Fire Palace resist me then. Don't think that you'll have the opportunity to live just because you've ruined our foundation here. It's impossible. I've made preparations this time. It doesn't matter what tricks you people have up your sleeves, everything will end up being destroyed. Wait for your deaths. The monarch of Jin Kingdom's voice reverberated in the air like the booming of thunder. The sound did not dissipate for a long time. However, the puppet fighter had thoroughly frittered away and his consciousness also disappeared. Jian Wushuang and the master of Samsara Temple hovered in the void as they stared at the puppet fighter slowly falling to the ground. Their expressions were as grave as ever. If his consciousness alone is this difficult to handle, just how terrifying would the real thing be? Jian Wushuang tightly clasped his hands, his eyes clouded over. The monarch of Jin Kingdom was unable to unleash many of his skills and tricks, including his strength, due to the limitations of his vessel. Even so, he was only defeated when Jian Wushuang used his doppelganger and with the help of the master of Samsara Temple. The monarch himself ought to be tenfold, perhaps even hundredfold, stronger. What could the Green Fire Palace do to resist the monarch of Jin Kingdom when he descends on this battlefield? Swoosh! 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 The master of the Void Temple, Emperor of Tang, Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword, and Red Lotus flew over to them. Jian Wushuang, the four palace masters, including the master of Samsara Temple, looked at him gratefully. This time, they had come here with the intention of destroying the former capital of the Jin Kingdom as well as the kingdom's foundation in this battlefield. Yet they did not expect that the kingdom would once again use the soul-luring skill and draw the consciousness of the monarch of Jin Kingdom here. Were it not for Jian Wushuang making a prompt move, the monarch's consciousness could very well slaughter them all. The five of them might not be able to survive this. Jian Wushuang's strength had also stunned them. The top expert of the Green Fire Palace was previously the master of Samsara Temple. However, after this battle, the position belonged to Jian Wushuang. The only problem was that no one had the mood to bring this up under such circumstances. After all, this was a problem that determined the survival of the entire Green Fire Palace, and even the Green Fire world. Everyone, What happened to the other Jin Kingdom experts? Jian Wushuang asked. While Jian Wushuang and the Master of Samsara Temple were working together to exterminate the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness, the other three worked to complement Red Lotus Nine Serenity's domain and slaughter all the Jin Kingdom experts. Few of the Jin Kingdom could escape thanks to Red Lotus Nine Serenity's domain. Most of the Holy Masters were killed, with only a few lucky ones fleeing. The Universe Masters are all dead, except for Red Snow King. The Master of Void Temple answered. Chapter 1195, 80 Years. Red Snow King escaped? Jian Wushuang frowned. It's my fault, the Master of Void Temple said, taking the blame for what happened. The cunning Red Snow King immediately fled when he saw that the monarch of Jin Kingdom's consciousness wasn't going to last. Even though I managed to react in time and work together with Red Lotus to stop him, he still managed to run. Red Snow King possesses the battle strength of a peak Universe Master. It's normal that you fail to stop him, the Master of Samsara Temple said. Jian Wushuang gave a small nod. Whatever the case, we fulfilled our objective of our war this time. You're right. We did it. The 5 Palace Masters began to smile. Even though they were still under immense pressure, they had still successfully destroyed the plans of the former capital of the Jin Kingdom. Their objective was essentially fulfilled. This was a great victory for them. With this great victory, they could still put up a struggle against the main Jin army. If the Green Fire Palace lost this war, then it would truly be the arrival of Judgment Day for them. The former capital of the Jin Kingdom is now destroyed. Even though there are still surviving experts on this battlefield, all of them except for Red Snow King are insignificant for us. We can now destroy their foundation here without worries. Before the army arrives, they wouldn't have any way of resisting us, the Master of Samsara Temple said. Emperor of Tang, Rising Sun, Red Lotus, I'll leave the task of destroying the foundation of Jin Kingdom to you three. You must work quickly. No problem. The three of them nodded. The former capital of the Jin Kingdom was already destroyed. Eradicating their foundation would be as easy as blowing off dust. Void, Jian Wushuang, the three of us will immediately return to the Green Fire Palace and prepare for the upcoming war. Moreover, we must announce the news of this decisive battle, the Master of Samsara Temple continued. Jian Wushuang and the Master of Void Temple wore solemn expressions. They were well aware that the upcoming war would dictate the life and death of the Green Fire Palace, and all the experts must be gathered for it. The only way for them to resist the offensive forces of the Jin Kingdom, and perhaps even prevail, was to gather and unite all the high-level forces of the Green Fire world. Red Lotus, did you record the scene of the battle today with your mirror image token? The Master of Samsara Temple asked, turning toward Red Lotus. I did. Red Lotus nodded. He took out a token and handed it to the Master of Samsara Temple. This is great. The Jin Kingdom is too strong. If we just announce the news just like that, the experts of our Green Fire world will certainly be alarmed. But after this battle today, we can certainly lift their morale. The Master of Samsara Temple said solemnly. Morale was a crucial point looking at how imminent the war was. The Palace Masters of the Green Fire Palace did not simply wage today just to destroy the foundation of the Jin Kingdom in this battlefield. They wanted to boost the morale of the entire Green Fire world at the same time. They wanted to give the Green Fire world hope of a victory, as only then would the experts unite and display their full strength. Let's go. Jian Wushuang and the other 6 Palace Masters immediately separated to go about their respective tasks. Emperor of Tang, Emperor of the Rising Sun Sword, and Red Lotus destroyed the foundation of Jin Kingdom in this battlefield. Jian Wushuang, Master of the Samsara Temple, and Master of the Void Temple returned to the Green Fire Palace using the shortest time possible, where they immediately began gathering the experts of the palace. In the dark and boundless void over on the edge of the enormous battlefield, there was a large tunnel carved into the dark and boundless void, and at the end of it was an ancient and immense spaceship slowly traveling along it. There was an impressively vast hall in the center of the spaceship. Inside, a devilishly handsome young man dressed in a luxurious golden robe reclined on a golden throne. Faint golden lights were glinting in his pupils. He was currently wearing a strange smile. Jian Wushuang. Interesting. I never thought there'd be such an exceptional talent residing in the tiny Green Fire world. He's only a Tao master but possesses the unparalleled battle strength of a universe master. I've never even heard of something like this. This youngster's potential is certainly unpredictable. What a pity that he's unwilling to be my disciple. If that's the case, I must eliminate such an exceptional talent like him at the roots. The handsome young man's eyes gradually turned cold. Ju Shi, the man called. The cool and elegant woman standing quietly at the end of the hall looked over. Lord Jin Feng, she answered. The handsome man in a golden robe was the monarch of Jin Kingdom. His real name was Jin Feng. Most experts of the Jin Kingdom addressed him as Lord Monarch. Ju Shi was the only one to call him Lord Jin Feng. This showed that she did not belong to the kingdom. How much longer will it take for my spaceship to arrive to that battlefield? The monarch of Jin Kingdom asked. The void here is rather strange. Moreover, the green fire world can use this void to arrange formations. In fact, their people are currently using their grand formation to obstruct the speed of the spaceship. There's nothing I can do but to steer the spaceship slowly through this tunnel. I think it'll take us at least another 80 years to reach there. Ju Shi said. 80 years is a pretty long time, the monarch of Jin Kingdom said, frowning. He had spent a whopping 5 million years to enter that battlefield, so 8 short years ought to be nothing to him. He was only this anxious after seeing an existence in the green fire world that would pose a great threat to him. This existence was none other than Jian Wushuang. That Jian Wushuang is extraordinarily talented. He now possesses the unparalleled battle strength of a universe master, but once he makes yet another breakthrough to the holy master level, his strength would rise significantly. He might be able to contend with me then, and that would make my task of destroying the green fire world a lot more difficult. 80 years seem like a short time, but a talent like him might be able to find a breakthrough opportunity in that time. The monarch of Jin Kingdom sighed. He then asked Ju Shi, can't we use the speed of the spaceship to forcefully pass through this tunnel? No. Ju Shi shook her head. It took me a bit of luck to create this tunnel itself, for it's not an easy task. I can't guarantee that this tunnel is stable. If we force our way through, this tunnel might collapse on us and all our efforts will be in vain. If there's nothing we can do, then so be it. The monarch of Jin Kingdom shook his head before looking at Ju Shi again. Have you prepared what I told you to prepare? Of course. The preparations are finally ready after spending hundreds of thousands of years and sacrificing much, Ju Shi answered with a laugh. Very well. Then we'll allow the green fire world to exist for another 8 years. 80 years later, no one will be able to stop me. The monarch of Jin Kingdom's evil aura rose sharply. Chapter 1196, The Announcement of the Great War. There were a large number of people standing on a large empty ground within the Green Fire Palace. Not long ago, the master of Samsara Temple ordered that all the holy masters of the palace gather here. Whether they were in the palace, out adventuring on the battlefield, or cultivating behind closed doors, the holy masters came to this spot as swiftly as possible. Most of them were confused and doubtful of the reason for their gathering. What's going on? They gathered all the holy masters, even those out on the battlefield. Look. Isn't that Holy Master Yun? It's really him. That's the oldest existence in our Green Fire Palace. Moreover, he has shut himself in without seeing anyone for a long time. To think that even he would show up. Something must have happened for them to call for such a large-scale gathering. Could it be a war against the Jin Kingdom? The empty ground was abuzz with discussion. Swoosh! Swoosh! Suddenly, 2 persons appeared in the void in front of the empty ground. These 2 were the Master of Samsara Temple and the Master of Void Temple. Greetings, Master of Samsara Temple, Master of Void Temple. The holy masters gathered on the empty ground immediately paid their respects. The Master of Samsara Temple and the Master of Void Temple exchanged looks. Let's begin, the Master of Void Temple said. HM. The Master of Samsara Temple nodded. He then addressed the crowd in a booming voice, saying, everyone, there's only one reason behind this gathering today. I'm sure many of you have already guessed this reason. That is, a war is about to break out between the Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom. These words swept the holy masters on the empty ground like wildfire. The war is here, as expected. It's finally here. I wonder if it's our side or the other side who waged the war. Since our forces are a little weaker than the forces of the Jin Kingdom, logic dictates that the Jin Kingdom is the one to incite the war. Humph. This Jin Kingdom sure is audacious. Even with our weaknesses, we ultimately still won the war against them 5 million years ago. And they dare wage a war against us now that our forces are not much weaker than theirs. They're really digging their own graves, aren't they? Many of the Holy Masters began gearing up for a fight. The Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom had a long history of enmity. Aside from the war 5 million years ago, there had been countless battles between the two. The grudge accumulated over the years was unimaginably deep. Many of them had lost their friends to the Jin Kingdom. Naturally, they sought revenge against the latter. The Master of Samsara Temple and the Master of Void Temple both secretly shook their heads after seeing the current scene. Everyone, this wouldn't be an ordinary war. It involves the life and death of the entire Green Fire world. Any mishap and our domain will be completely annihilated, the Master of Samsara Temple said solemnly. What? Many of the Holy Masters on the empty ground raised their heads to look at him. To them, the current strength of the Green Fire Palace was enough for them to block the attacks of the Jin Kingdom. Why would the situation worsen to the point that their survival would be at stake? The Master of Samsara Temple did not elaborate. With a wave of his hand, a scene began playing in the void in front of him. Naturally, the scene was of the immense tunnel outside the battlefield as well as the spaceship slowly traveling inside of it. What's that? The Holy Masters appeared alarmed to see the spaceship depicted in the scene. You've all seen this. The Master of Samsara Temple continued solemnly, this spaceship is just the reinforcement of the Jin Kingdom but also its main force. It's personally manned by the Supreme Monarch of the Kingdom. It's now in the void outside the battlefield and it'll take at most 80 years before it arrives. When the time comes, the spaceship under the command of the Monarch of Jin Kingdom will certainly incite a war that will destroy our Green Fire world. And this war will be even more dangerous for us than the one 5 million years ago. What? Many Holy Masters on the ground were dumbfounded. The Green Fire Palace and the entire Green Fire world had paid an unimaginable price for winning the war 5 million years ago. Countless experts gave their lives to block the attacks from the Jin Kingdom. Back then, the Green Fire world was already towing the line between life and death. But this war will be even more dangerous. A considerable amount of Holy Masters began to dread the upcoming war. I don't wish to scare you, but there are things that I must inform you all, the Master of Samsara Temple said in a booming voice. This war is different from the one 5 million years ago. This time, the Jin Kingdom will come prepared. In fact, they will even come full force to wipe out our Green Fire world to make it easier to occupy the battlefield. In my conservative estimates, they have brought at least several times the number of experts they brought 5 million years ago. Moreover, their monarch, who is considered a supreme expert above the universe master level, will command them personally. In our palace, and even in the entire domain, we don't have any peak experts who can contend with the monarch of Jin Kingdom. The Holy Masters on the empty ground immediately paled after hearing his words. There will be several times more experts this time than the war 5 million years ago. The monarch of Jin Kingdom will personally come here. How can our Green Fire Palace resist such a terrifying force? We're done for. This is the end for our Green Fire world. Shrill voices that carried alarm reverberated in the empty ground. Many of the Holy Masters wore expressions of defeat. This was only to be expected. The forces of the Jin Kingdom this time was too formidable. Furthermore, there would be several times more experts who would arrive this time compared to 5 million years ago. It had been a great struggle to resist the Jin Kingdom then, but there was now even more Jin Kingdom experts who would soon storm their domain. Moreover, the monarch would be personally leading the Jin Kingdom experts. What could the Green Fire Palace do to resist them? The Master of Samsara Temple and the Master of Void Temple took in the expressions of the Holy Masters on the empty ground. Their own faces darkened a little. This was precisely what they worried about the most. This was merely an announcement of the upcoming war, not the war itself, and yet the Green Fire Palace experts were already in such a state of panic and fear. In fact, some already felt hopeless. When the forces of Jin Kingdom descend on them, they would truly be in a vulnerable state. Humph. The master of Samsara Temple suddenly let out a loud sneer that exerted a heavy pressure on the holy masters underneath. The holy masters could not help quivering under such pressure, and all of them began to shut their mouths. Chapter 1197. The Scene. Look at your faces. Look at how you're behaving. There was anger concealed in the voice of the master of Samsara Temple as his voice reverberated in the ears of the holy masters gathered like the booming of thunder. Useless fools! The master of Void Temple roared furiously. The holy masters were thunderstruck. The master of Samsara Temple continued, "If you're this fearful before the forces of the Jinn Kingdom arrive, the people of our green fire world can just sit and wait for our deaths when they truly descend on us." Humph! The master of Void Temple once again snorted coldly, the sound like a harsh rap on the hearts of the holy masters. Listen up, all of you. Even though the forces of the Jinn Kingdom are formidable, we aren't the same green fire world of 5 million years ago. If we unite and work together, there's still hope of survival. Moreover, so what if we can't block the attacks of the Jinn Kingdom and get annihilated? Even a beast that has no intelligence will bare its fangs and launch a final attack in the face of certain death. It will strive to break its enemy's jaw even at the cost of its life. But look at you all. Have you all lived for so long that you have lost even this bit of enthusiasm? Do we not even have the most basic courage to fight even when we are facing formidable enemies? The words of the master of Void Temple reverberated in the hearts of the holy masters, many of whom appeared sheepish. There were also those who looked fired up. Enthusiasm. It was something that existed in everyone. Even though these holy masters had lived very long lives until they were all wizened, the passion rooted in their bones never once dissipated with age. Even if your passion is all but gone due to your age, you still have your pride, don't you? The master of Void Temple continued, his gaze sweeping the holy masters. I'll now show you another scene. I want you to look carefully. He then waved his hand and a scene immediately appeared in the void. The first scene surprisingly depicted the area that was shrouded in the purple mist. That's the former capital of the Jinn Kingdom? Recognizing the area shrouded in purple mist at once, the holy masters all wore expressions of confusion over the intentions of the master of Void Temple. Just then, a streak of light was immediately thrown into the purple mist. An earth-shattering explosion followed and the purple mist promptly dissipated. The four palace masters, the master of Samsara Temple, the master of Void Temple, Emperor of Tang, and Emperor of the Rising Sun sword immediately charged at a puppet fighter. The holy masters on the empty ground looked astonished. The former capital of the Jinn Kingdom. The four palace masters attacked the former capital of the Jinn Kingdom? Those puppet fighters were of the universe master level? This. The scene of the experts from the Jinn Kingdom and the Green Fire Palace wearing played. The master of Samsara Temple had immediately demonstrated his overwhelming strength to suppress Red Snow King. Red Lotus had unleashed his 9 Serenities world that unveiled pressure over the entire battlefield and killed a large number of holy masters from the Jinn Kingdom. The master of Samsara Temple is so powerful. That's Red Lotus 9 Serenities world? The 5 great palace masters of the Green Fire Palace had gone all out. Emotional sighs and exclamations resounded throughout the empty ground. Open your eyes wide for the next scene, the master of Void Temple suddenly said, giving them a reminder. The holy masters stared carefully at the unfolding scene and as expected, they saw a great shift in the battle. They saw a cold sword light rising from a corner of the battlefield and exterminating King Golden Rock of the Jinn Kingdom at lightning speed. Oh my God! King Golden Rock is killed. What speed? Who is it? Who's the one responsible for that swordsmanship? Amid the sea of exclamations, the scene depicted a silhouette charging toward King Fantastical Heaven and killed him at a similarly terrifying swordsmanship and speed. It was only then that they got a clear look at the figure. That's. The holy masters stared fixedly at the figure depicted on the scene. Then, a commotion broke out. Jian Wushuang. That's Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang. How could it be Jian Wushuang? Jian Wushuang didn't die. They were all shocked. It was the 5 palace masters who personally announced Jian Wushuang's death 1,800 years ago. It had been a collective loss for them. Yet they saw Jian Wushuang once again, who now slaughtered holy masters like he was slaughtering chickens. The following scene was akin to a great massacre as Jian Wushuang killed another universe master of the Jin Kingdom. He alone had killed 3 great universe masters of the Jin Kingdom. Then, they saw Red Snow King using Chapter 1198, The Sixth Palace Master. It hasn't even been 5,000 years since Jian Wushuang began his cultivation. But when he found out that war is imminent and that our green fire world is in danger, what did he do? He teamed up with us to attack the former capital of the Jin Kingdom, slaughter the enemies, and destroy the remnants of the kingdom's foundation on this battlefield, all to eke out a tiny hope of survival for us. But this means that the Jin Kingdom will know he's still alive and will most certainly target him. We can say that he's already cornered himself to the edge of the cliff for the sake of our green fire world. If the army of Jin Kingdom truly descends upon us, he would be the first one they wish to kill. But look at all of you. Did you spend so many years living only to become a coward? The master of Samsara Temple scolded the holy masters. The holy masters gathered around were all ashamed of themselves. It was true that Jian Wushuang had pushed himself to the brink of death when he attacked the monarch of Jin Kingdom. He had done it for the sake of the green fire world. They, who were many years older than Jian Wushuang, appeared to be so much inferior in contrast. This inferiority was not only in terms of strength but courage as well. If we're talking about strength, I know I'm no match for Jian Wushuang. But when it comes to passion, I'm not any weaker. I've long found my long life to be sufficient. If a youngster like Jian Wushuang isn't afraid of the forces of the Jin Kingdom, what do I have to fear? Come at me, Jin Kingdom. If worse comes to worst, I'll just die. Let's have an all-out war against the Jin Kingdom. Even if we die in the end, we must still unfang the Jin Kingdom before that. Booming voices resounded on the empty ground as these holy masters began to get fired up. The master of Samsara Temple and the master of Void Temple wore satisfied smiles on their faces when they saw this scene. They tried to use Jian Wushuang's bravery to provoke these holy masters, and from the looks of it, their plan worked rather effectively. The passion in these holy masters had been thoroughly invoked. Their morale was largely boosted as well. Swoosh! Just then, Jian Wushuang appeared next to the master of Samsara Temple. Boom! A majestic and boundless air surged from within him and pervaded every corner of the empty ground. Silence once again fell over the holy masters. Listen well. From today onward, Jian Wushuang is the 6th palace master of our Green Fire Palace. His position is equivalent to mine. The master of Samsara Temple announced in a booming voice. Greetings, Palace Master. Greetings, Palace Master. The holy masters underneath them all paid their respects to Jian Wushuang, fervent energy burning in their eyes. Jian Wushuang stood there, overlooking everything underneath. His expression was rather strange. Master of Samsara Temple, isn't this a little too much? He asked via telepathy. He noticed that the determined look on the holy masters. Evidently, they had prepared themselves for certain death. Too much? The master of Samsara Temple shook his head. There's only a shred of hope for our green fire world, and this shred of hope is only possible if we all carry the determination to die. It's only when we're prepared to pay any price that we can hold on to the hope. This includes even me and all those who will participate in the war. Everyone must carry the determination to die. Jian Wushuang, you must also mentally prepare yourself. Jian Wushuang was stunned but promptly recovered and nodded seriously. There are 80 years before the army of Jin Kingdom will arrive. Even though 80 years aren't a long time, it's also a rare chance for us to make our preparations. Go and prepare for the war. The master of Samsara Temple's voice rang in their ears. The holy masters of the Green Fire Palace immediately set out to do as ordered. Jian Wushuang, the master of Samsara Temple, and the master of Void Temple were seated inside a towering palace. Jian Wushuang will typically hold a 3-day banquet to celebrate the appointment of a new palace master, but we couldn't do so due to the urgency of the situation, the master of Samsara Temple said. No matter. It's not too late to hold a banquet when we claim victory 80 years later, Jian Wushuang said with a chuckle. You're right. The master of Samsara Temple laughed. The war this time will be more perilous than the one 5 million years ago, but our green fire world isn't completely helpless. If we unite and do whatever necessary, we stand at least a 10% chance of victory. 10% chance of victory? Jian Wushuang's heart thumped. He found the estimation to be too optimistic. There will be countless experts in the army of Jin Kingdom this time, including the monarch himself. Their collective strength was at least 10 times stronger than that of the Green Fire world. It was already a miracle that they have any hope of winning considering how disparate their forces were. The master of Samsara Temple looked at Jian Wushuang. Why? Do you find it unbelievable? Yes. Jian Wushuang gave a small nod. The master of Samsara Temple burst out laughing. Beside him, the master of Void Temple was also smiling. The former then continued, Jian Wushuang, you've only become an official palace master today and don't know many of the true secrets of our palace. I'll inform you now. Secrets? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. You should be very well aware that the battlefield that we are on contains countless opportunities and treasures. The battlefield itself is such a priceless treasure that even the Jin Kingdom, that originates from the ancient world, desperately covets it. And yet our Green Fire Palace has existed in this place for more than 40 million years. How can our palace be underestimated when we have accumulated resources over a whopping 40 million years? The master of Samsara Temple laughed. You've seen the puppet fighter on the Universe Master level. Even though it's one of our treasures, but it can't be considered as our true trump card. There are 3 true trump cards in the Green Fire Palace. Jian Wushuang raised an eyebrow. 3 trump cards? He had previously guessed that the Green Fire Palace would certainly have trump cards in hand after so many years on the battlefield. Today, he was proven correct. However, he did not know what those trump cards were. Our first trump card is our tactical formation. The master of Samsara Temple said. Tactical formation? Surprise flitted across Jian Wushuang's expression. He was familiar with formations, but he had never heard of a tactical formation. Jian Wushuang, do you remember how you and your father killed the ancient demon clan back in the Samsara continent when rescuing your mother? The master of Samsara Temple asked. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded. Then you must also remember that the ancient demon clan dispatched their 9 divine guards who made up an ancient god tactical formation, he continued asking with a smile. Ancient god tactical formation? Jian Wushuang's heart jolted. Naturally, he remembered that ancient god tactical formation. The 9 divine guards had been mere Dao masters of varying strengths, but when they paired with the ancient god lineage and teamed up to constitute the ancient god tactical formation, their collective might was incredible. In fact, they were strong enough to rival a holy master. Chapter 1199, The Trump Cards of Green Fire Palace. The 9 of them are just Dao masters, but put them together and their strength equals that of a celestial master. The ancient god battle formation had left a lasting impression on Jian Wushuang. Samsara Temple Master laughed. The ancient god battle formation is a kind of tactical formations. It's not a particularly strong one. Do you mean that there's an even better formation in Green Fire Palace? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes. Samsara Temple Master nodded. The huge battlefield is the product of an earth-shaking battle. Both the number of experts participating in that battle and their strength are all far beyond my imagination. In that battle, experts from both sides used tactical formations. Since many died, their tactical formations were also left there. We've obtained several tactical formations over the past 400 million years, but they're all extraordinary, so they're put to use in the Green Fire world. Thus, they're not available at the Fire Points Exchange Office. But it's now time to use them here with the decisive battle with the Jin Kingdom looming. Void and I have already informed all experts residing in the Green Fire world about the upcoming battle as well as the strong enemies that they should watch out for. We also ordered all experts over the Dao Master level to join the battle. Experts over the Dao Master level to join the battle? Jian Wushuang was shocked. There were 2 continents in the Green Fire world. In Samsara continent alone, there were billions of people, countless factions, and innumerable Dao masters. The vast Void continent was also home to a lot of Dao masters. It was difficult to even imagine just how many experts over the Dao master level would there be in the entire Green Fire world. Moreover, they were now all ordered to go to war. The Jin Kingdom will be going all out in this war, but they'll likely just send Universe and Celestial Masters here. Since we don't have as many Universe and Celestial Masters on our side, all we can do is make up for the power imbalance with the numbers of our Dao Masters. Samsara Temple Master added. Great power in numbers? Jian Wushuang blurted out. Yes. Great power in numbers, Samsara Temple Master said. It was our huge population, especially our huge number of Dao Masters, that narrowed the gap in experts of high realms between 2 sides 5 million years ago. That was how we withstood the attack of the Jin Kingdom. So will we this time. Normally, these Dao Masters could only be cannon fodder in the battlefield. But it's a completely different situation if they team up to form a tactical formation. Samsara Temple Master's eyes turned cold. We've gained various tactical formations. The simple ones need only 10 Dao Masters to unleash a strength that rivals a Celestial Master. When hundreds of Dao Masters work together to form even larger formations, their power could equal that of the tactical formation of an advanced Celestial Master and even one in the exceptional realm. For higher level. If thousands of Dao Masters work together, their battle strength equals that of a Universe Master. Jian Wushuang could not help secretly exclaiming to himself as he listened. Usually, a normal Dao Master would be no more than cannon fodder if he fought alone in a battle of such level. Even the small sliver of power in the aftermath could kill a Dao Master, never mind trying to make a difference in the battlefield. If they worked together, however, it was a whole other story. Of course, there's a limit to how much these formations can help us. It's our 2 remaining trump cards that we're counting on, Samsara Temple Master said. What are they? Jian Wushuang asked. One of them is the land we stand upon, Samsara Temple Master answered. Land? Jian Wushuang was startled. You mean the land where Green Fire Palace lies? Our base. Correct. Samsara Temple Master smiled. You've been here for quite some time. Surely, you must be aware of the uniqueness of this land. Yes. Jian Wushuang solemnly nodded. Cultivation is much more effective here. Besides, the palaces, attics, flowers, and trees could never be destroyed. That's quite unique. Of course. Why else would we choose to build our base here? Samsara Temple Master replied, smiling. Follow me. Samsara Temple Master and Void Temple Master led Jian Wushuang to the most secret chamber of Green Fire Palace. The chamber lied deep underground in the center of the palace. It was covered with restrictions that prevented even celestial and universe masters from forcing their way in. Jian Wushuang entered the secret chamber under Samsara Temple Master's guidance. The floating luminous pearls immediately caught his eye when he entered. The pearls of varying colors were distinctive. Void Temple Master, Samsara Temple Master, Palace Master Jian Wushuang. A white-haired elder in front of the luminous pearls exclaimed. Celestial Master Yun? Jian Wushuang's expression betrayed his surprise. Celestial Master Yun is the oldest Celestial Master in Green Fire Palace. His position is no lower than us Palace Masters. He's in charge of the formation cast over the battlefield as well the land where our palace sits, said Samsara Temple Master. Oh! Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. He knew that Celestial Master Dao Yun enjoyed an esteemed position and commanded a deep respect from the Palace Masters, but did not expect Dao Yun to be in charge of such important things. Celestial Master Yun, let Jian Wushuang look at the land we're on. Samsara Temple Master smiled. All right. Yun nodded and showed Jian Wushuang a luminous pearl. You'll be able to get the complete overview of the land through this pearl, even the deepest corners of it, he said. Jian Wushuang immediately poured his soul power into the pearl. A short moment later, he retrieved his soul power. His face was now pale with shock and horror. Is this place a battle fortress? Jian Wushuang cried. Samsara Temple Master laughed. Yes, it's a battle fortress. This land is a mobile battle fortress. It's formidable because we can both attack and defend here. Unfortunately, when we found and occupied this fortress, 90% of it was damaged. The only things left were only some basic defense or attack skills. Even so, it's still our killing weapon. To a great extent, we owe our victory 500 million years ago to this battle fortress. Chapter 1200. The Battle Fortress. Shock gripped Jian Wushuang. He could tell that this land was extraordinary but never expected it to be a huge battle fortress. So it's a battle fortress. Jiyu King, who parasitized Jian Wushuang, was also amazed. It's a challenge to refine a battle fortress. In the eternal chaotic world, even the lowest level battle fortress is worth far more than a chaos magic treasure. The high-level ones are killing machines and an absolute nightmare. This battle fortress is a high-level one and is invaluable despite being 90% destroyed. If it's intact, its value would be even higher than normal Chaos Divine Treasures. It's more valuable than Chaos Divine Treasures? Jian Wushuang was stunned. This is getting interesting. To think that such a high-level battle fortress would appear in this battlefield and greatly destroyed at that. I'm really curious what sort of war formed this vast battlefield. Jiyu King sighed. Can we fight the Jin Kingdom with such a strong battle fortress? Jian Wushuang asked quietly. A direct fight? Jiyu King laughed. Never mind that. You can even wipe out the entire Jin Kingdom with ease if you can maximize whatever potential left of this battle fortress. The problem is that you can't. This fortress is like a baby equipped a peerless sword. It's a good sword, but the baby can't demonstrate its power at all. What is the use? It can't be used? Jian Wushuang frowned. Jian Wushuang, ask them what other means left in the battle fortress that are of use, said Jiyu King. Jian Wushuang did as requested. Samsara Temple Master momentarily paused before answering. There are many useful methods in the fortress, but their levels are too high. Even some basic attacking methods require the command of dozens of and even hundreds of experts over the Universe Master level. We're not strong enough to use some of the attacking methods of the fortress. The only offense we can use is the Divine Rays of the North. It's the weakest attacking method in the fortress, but it's still something to contend with. One streak of Divine Rays of the North can easily kill a Universe Master, but it's not strong enough to kill experts as strong as Monarch of the Jin Kingdom. However, there aren't many Divine Rays of the North left. There are only 20 left. Divine Rays of the North. Jiu King's voice resounded inside Jian Wushuang's mind. Its one break carries about the same force as an attack from experts as strong as the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. It's more than enough to kill a universe master, but it's no more than a wild wish to kill the monarch of the Jin Kingdom. In other words, we can find an opportunity to kill the 20 universe masters of the Jin Kingdom with this fortress. Jian Wushuang clasped his hands. You can put it that way. We fully utilized the divine rays of the north in the battle 5 million years ago and killed many Jin Kingdom experts, Samsara Temple Master said. In addition, though we have few usable attacking methods, there are still the basic defense movements in this fortress. Even the monarch of the Jin Kingdom won't be able to break these defense formations. We can rely on the fortress to take the initiative and fight or retreat at our will. There is nothing the Jin Kingdom can do about us. Doesn't that make us invincible? Jian Wushuang's eyes gleamed. It's not that simple. Samsara Temple Master shook his head. The fortress can only withstand the attack of the Jin Kingdom. If they ignore us and attack the Green Fire World instead, is it reasonable for us to stay here and watch them to destroy the Green Fire World? That makes sense. Jian Wushuang nodded solemnly. The Green Fire World sat right behind Green Fire Palace. Once the Green Fire Palace experts retreat to the fortress and stop putting up a fight, it was likely that the Jin Kingdom would charge toward the Green Fire World to force the Green Fire Palace experts out. Even so, this fortress allows the Green Fire World to cope more easily with the Jin Kingdom experts. If any of us sustain life-threatening injuries, we can run to the fortress and recover, Jian Wushuang said. That's the idea. Samsara Temple Master nodded with a smile. This fortress is undoubtedly our most powerful trump card. Moreover, there's our second trump card too, a puppet fighter. A puppet fighter? Jian Wushuang frowned. Regular puppet fighters, even ones like Jian Wushuang's axe whose strength equaled that of a top universe master, could not be a trump card. For a puppet fighter to be strong enough to be considered a trump card, it must be. Is it in the realm similar to the monarch of the Jin Kingdom? Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. No. Samsara Temple Master shook his head. It's a formidable puppet fighter that is even more terrifying than the monarch of the Jin Kingdom if its power is fully unleashed. Unfortunately, it consumes fire gems and its strength also depends on fire gems. Fire gems are so rare that I collected just a small amount of them after searching the battlefield for over 400 million years. With so few fire gems, it's impossible to unleash the puppet fighter's true power. Even if it can display similar battle strength as the monarch of the Jin Kingdom, it can last only about 10 breaths. 5 million years ago, we have even fewer fire gems. The puppet fighter didn't even have a chance to fight. I see. Understanding dawned on Jian Wushuang. In other words, we have a trump card that can counter the monarch of the Jin Kingdom for dozens of breaths long? Yes. Samsara Temple Master solemnly nodded. Our 3 strongest trump cards are tactical formations, the battle fortress, and the puppet fighter. Besides, we wouldn't be stingy with resources in life and death war. We'll provide any treasures you need, be it Emperor weapons, Chaos Emperor weapons, or Chaos magic treasures. You don't even need to exchange for them in the Fire Points exchange office. We'll also make available the secret skills in Fire Points exchange office. We'll equip the Dao Masters joining the battle with the most powerful Emperor weapons. We'll arm the strong ones with Chaos Emperor weapons so that they can fully unleash their power. We'll also reward each of them with 1 drop of ancient god power.